Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to We Are Cosmic. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you're watching from. Today's video is important because we're going to talk about something most people in crypto are completely misunderstanding. This is not hype, this is not noise, and this is definitely not about short-term price action. This is about infrastructure, global finance, and where XRP actually fits in the future of money. Let me ask you something right at the start. What if I told you that while people are arguing on social media about whether XRP is dead or a scam, the real financial system is quietly being rebuilt behind the scenes? What if the biggest global payment networks are already accepting that blockchain is not optional anymore, but necessary? That's exactly what we're going to break down today in very simple terms so anyone can understand it. Here on We Are Cosmic, we don't chase headlines. We focus on signals. And one of the strongest signals right now is the massive network effect Ripple has built around XRP. We are talking about thousands of banks, payment providers, and financial institutions worldwide that are already connected or experimenting with Ripple's technology. That matters, especially for long-term XRP holders. If you're someone who follows Ripple and XRP closely, do me a quick favor. Type X in the comments right now. It helps the channel and it tells me exactly who the real community members are. Also, smash that like button because it pushes this video to more people who actually want to learn instead of just chase hype. Now, I want you to stay with me until the end of this video. Why? Because we're going to hear directly from David Schwartz, Ripple's CTO, explaining why XRP plays a unique role as a neutral bridge asset. This is not my opinion. This is coming straight from the people who built the system. Before we get there, we need to clear up a huge misunderstanding in the crypto space. A lot of people are talking about Swift and blockchain right now, and many are saying this is bad news for Ripple and XRP. But that conclusion is completely wrong. In fact, it shows that most people don't understand how global payments actually work. For decades, Swift has been the backbone of international payments. But here's the key thing most people miss. Swift does not move money. It only sends messages between banks. That system was designed for a world that existed long before blockchain technology. It's slow, expensive, and inefficient by today's standards. So when people hear that Swift is exploring blockchain interoperability, they panic. They think Swift is trying to replace Ripple. But that's not what's happening at all. What Swift is really doing is admitting something very important. The future of finance will be multi-chain. Different blockchains will specialize in different things like smart contracts, tokenization, privacy, compliance, and settlement. The real challenge is not which blockchain wins. The real challenge is how all these blockchains communicate with each other efficiently. That is where Ripple and XRP come into the picture. Ripple didn't waste years chasing trends like gaming NFTs or meme coins. They focused on one core problem: cross-border payment settlement. Moving value from one place to another instantly, cheaply, and reliably. And in a world where money is constantly moving between banks, institutions, countries, and networks, you need something very specific. You need a neutral, fast, liquid bridge asset. An asset that doesn't belong to any single country. An asset that doesn't require money to be pre-funded everywhere. An asset that can settle transactions in seconds, not days. XRP was designed for exactly this role. This is why what we're seeing right now is so important. When Swift experiments with blockchain rails, it's not competing with Ripple. It's validating Ripple's original vision. Messaging alone is no longer enough. Value has to move, not just information. In traditional finance today, banks have to keep money sitting idle in different countries just to move funds across borders. These are called prefunded Nostro and Vostro accounts. Billions, even trillions of dollars are locked up doing nothing. This is extremely inefficient, expensive, and slow. But for decades, banks had no better option, so they accepted it as normal. Blockchain changes that completely, but only if the system can move value instantly and reliably. This is where many blockchains fail. They might be fast, or they might be decentralized, or they might be good for smart contracts, but they are not built specifically for settlement at global scale. Ripple saw this problem early. Instead of trying to do everything, they focused on one thing: settlement. XRP was designed to act as a bridge asset, meaning it sits between two different currencies or systems and allows value to move without friction. This is not theory anymore. This is already being tested and used. In a multi-chain world, money doesn't stay on one blockchain. It moves constantly. from banks to payment providers, from one country to another, from one network to another. The question is not whether money will move across chains. The question is how efficiently it can do that. This is why a neutral asset is so important. XRP does not belong to the United States. It does not belong to Europe, China, or any single institution. It operates independently of borders. That matters more than people realize. Global finance cannot rely on assets that are politically or jurisdictionally constrained. Another key point is speed. XRP settles in seconds, not minutes, not hours, not days, seconds. When you are moving large amounts of value, time is risk. The faster a transaction settles, the less exposure there is. Institutions care deeply about this. Cost is another factor. Cross-border payments today are expensive. Fees add up at every step. XRP transactions cost fractions of a cent. At global scale, that difference is massive. These are not small details. These are requirements for a modern financial system. Now let's address the criticism. Some people still say Ripple and XRP are a scam. Most of these people are stuck in a 2017 mindset. They see crypto as hype, speculation, and quick profits. They don't look at infrastructure. They don't look at integration. They don't look at regulation. Ripple took a very different path. Instead of fighting regulators, they worked with them. Instead of avoiding banks, they partnered with them. Instead of chasing trends, they built plumbing. That is not exciting for social media, but it is exactly why Ripple is still here while thousands of projects have disappeared. Calling XRP a scam today doesn't make someone smart or cautious. It means they are ignoring how real financial systems evolve. Banks do not adopt technology overnight. They test, they integrate slowly, and they focus on risk management. Ripple understands this world because they built for it. Right now, we are seeing real systems being connected. Real institutions are experimenting with real value movement on blockchain rails. This is not about hype cycles. This is about infrastructure cycles. And infrastructure takes time, but once it's in place, it's very hard to replace. In this environment, the real question is not, will XRP pump tomorrow? The real question is, can global finance function efficiently without a neutral settlement asset? So far, nothing else has been built specifically for this role at scale the way XRP has. We need to talk about something most people ignore in crypto: survival. In this space, survival is not guaranteed. Thousands of projects launched with big promises, loud marketing, and aggressive price predictions, and today, most of them are gone. Not because blockchain failed, but because they were not built for the real world. Ripple chose a path that was slower, harder, and far less exciting for short-term traders. They focused on regulation, compliance, and institutional trust. That decision is the reason Ripple is still standing while many others collapsed. From the very beginning, Ripple understood one thing very clearly. If you want to change global finance, you must work with the system, not fight it. Banks, governments, and payment providers move slowly because they manage risk at massive scale. Ripple designed its technology and business model to fit into that reality. This is why Ripple spent years building relationships with banks and regulators instead of chasing viral trends. While others were launching new tokens every few months, Ripple was integrating with existing financial infrastructure. That work is invisible to most retail investors, but it is incredibly valuable. XRP plays a key role in this strategy. It is not designed to be a governance token or a meme asset. It is designed to move value efficiently. That single focus gives XRP clarity of purpose, and clarity is rare in crypto. Another reason Ripple has survived is adaptability. The financial world changes constantly. Regulations change. Technologies evolve. Market conditions shift. Ripple has shown that it can adjust without losing its core mission. That is a sign of a mature project, not a speculative one. Now let's talk about the idea of a multi-blockchain world again, because this is critical. No single blockchain will do everything. Some will be better at smart contracts. Some will focus on privacy. Others will specialize in tokenization or identity. What matters is how these systems connect. Interoperability is not a feature anymore. It is a requirement. And interoperability without efficient settlement is useless. You can send messages all day long, but if value cannot move instantly and cheaply, the system breaks down. This is where XRP's design becomes very important. XRP is liquid, fast, and neutral. It does not try to control the network. It enables the network to function smoothly. That is a very different philosophy from many projects that try to lock users into their ecosystem. People often underestimate how powerful neutrality is. Global finance cannot rely on assets that favor one country, one bank, or one political system. XRP's independence gives it a unique position. It can sit between different systems without creating friction or conflict. This also explains why Ripple avoided unnecessary complexity. They didn't overload the XRP ledger with features that were not essential to settlement. Instead, they optimized it for reliability, speed, and cost efficiency. At global scale, simplicity is strength. Now let's be clear. This does not mean XRP has no competition. It does. But competition does not mean replacement. In infrastructure, multiple systems can coexist, each serving a specific role. XRP's role is becoming clearer as the ecosystem matures. For XRP holders, this is an important mindset shift. This is not about quick gains. This is about understanding where value accumulates over time. Infrastructure assets often look boring before they become essential. And once they become essential, they are everywhere. Most of this criticism comes from people who are still viewing crypto through a 2017-2018 lens. Back then, the market was driven almost entirely by speculation. Projects promised the world, raised massive money, and disappeared. That created deep mistrust, and understandably so. But assuming every long-running project is the same is a mistake. A real scam does not survive for over a decade while working with regulators, banks, and global payment providers. Scams avoid transparency, scams avoid compliance, scams do not invite scrutiny. Ripple has done the opposite. They have been one of the most visible, audited, and regulated companies in the crypto space. Another misunderstanding is about centralization. People often confuse company involvement with network control. Ripple is a company. XRP is a digital asset. These two things are related, but they are not the same. XRP can exist and function without Ripple, just like the internet exists beyond any single company that uses it. Yes, Ripple owns a large amount of XRP. That is not hidden. It has been disclosed publicly for years. The key question is not ownership, but utility and distribution over time. XRP is being used, moved, and integrated into real payment flows. That is what gives it value beyond speculation. Another reason the scam narrative persists is emotional attachment to other assets. Crypto has tribal behavior, people pick sides, Bitcoin versus everything else, decentralization versus institutions. But global finance does not work on ideology. It works on efficiency, reliability, and scale. Institutions do not care about online arguments. They care about whether a system reduces cost, risk, and friction. Ripple's technology does exactly that. That is why it continues to be tested and adopted, even while critics remain loud online. We also need to talk about regulation. Ripple didn't try to hide from it. They engaged with regulators early, even when it was uncomfortable. That decision slowed them down in the short term, but it protected them in the long term. Many projects avoided regulation, and many of them no longer exist. The reality is, financial infrastructure is boring until it suddenly isn't. People don't talk about plumbing until it breaks. Ripple is building plumbing for global value transfer. When it works, nobody notices. But when it's missing, everything stops. This brings us back to the bigger picture. We are moving toward a world where settlement happens in real time. Delays, intermediaries, and locked capital are no longer acceptable. Blockchain makes instant settlement possible, but only if liquidity is available where it's needed. XRP provides that liquidity layer. It is not trying to replace banks. It is not trying to overthrow governments. It is enabling systems to connect more efficiently. That is a much more realistic and powerful role. Calling XRP a scam today often says more about the critic than the asset. It usually means they are not watching how the financial system is actually evolving. They are focused on narratives, not infrastructure. Infrastructure adoption does not happen overnight. First, systems are tested, then they are integrated, then they are slowly scaled, and only after that do they become critical. We are currently in that middle phase. It feels slow, it feels frustrating, but this is exactly how major financial shifts have always happened. XRP's potential value is not based on hype or marketing. It is based on utility at scale. The more value that flows through the network, the more important liquidity becomes. And when liquidity becomes essential, assets designed for that purpose gain relevance. Think about it this way. If banks and institutions can move value instantly without holding massive reserves in foreign accounts, they free up enormous amounts of capital. That capital can be used more efficiently elsewhere. This is not a small improvement, this is a structural change. XRP is positioned to benefit from that shift because it was built to sit in the middle of these flows, not as a replacement for currencies, but as a bridge between them. Bridges are not flashy, but without them, nothing connects. This is why many long-term XRP holders see this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not because of guaranteed returns, but because of positioning. Very few digital assets are being built directly into real financial systems. Even fewer are designed specifically for settlement. It's also important to understand risk honestly. This is not a guarantee. Regulation, competition, and execution all matter. But compared to most crypto projects, XRP has one major advantage. It is already inside the conversation. It is already being tested. It is already understood by institutions. That alone puts XRP in a different category. Now let's talk about leadership. When you hear Brad Garlinghouse talk about making a dent in the universe, or David Schwartz explain XRP's role as a neutral bridge asset, you are not hearing empty promises. You are hearing a clear vision. They are not selling dreams. They are explaining a system. David Schwartz has consistently said that markets need a liquid neutral asset that anyone can hold, regardless of jurisdiction. This is not ideology. This is market mechanics. Where there is no direct trading pair, something must sit in the middle. XRP was designed to fill that gap. This is especially important in emerging markets where liquidity is often fragmented. XRP helps markets function smoothly, both on-chain and off-chain. That dual role is rare and powerful. For holders, the biggest challenge is patience. Infrastructure rewards those who understand timing, not those who chase excitement. Many people will only notice XRP once it is already deeply embedded in global finance. By then, the opportunity looks very different. David Schwartz has repeatedly explained that global markets need a liquid, neutral asset that can sit between different systems. Not everyone will share the same currency. Not every market will have direct trading pairs. And not every institution will operate under the same rules. In those gaps, markets break down unless there is something reliable connecting them. This is where XRP fills a very specific role. XRP can be held by anyone. It is jurisdictionless. It is fast. And it is designed to move value efficiently where direct paths do not exist. David Schwartz often points to features like auto-bridging on the XRP ledger, where the network automatically routes trades through XRP when no direct market exists. That is not a marketing feature. That is a functional solution to a real problem. What makes this important is that this functionality works both on the blockchain and off the blockchain. XRP does not live in isolation. It interacts with real markets, real currencies, and real institutions. That ability to bridge different environments is rare in crypto. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, you can see the direction things are moving. Messaging alone is no longer enough. Information must move, but so must value. The financial system is slowly shifting toward real-time settlement, and liquidity is becoming the center of everything. This is why Ripple's work matters, even if it doesn't make daily headlines. They are not building a product for traders. They are building infrastructure for the next generation of global finance. That takes time, testing, and patience. For XRP holders, the key takeaway is this: relevance comes from utility, not noise. The market will eventually align with what is actually being used. That alignment does not happen instantly, but it does happen. Now, as a community, staying focused is critical. There will always be negative voices. There will always be people calling XRP dead or irrelevant, but the signal is in the integrations, the partnerships, and the ongoing development. Watch what institutions do, not what social media says. Before I wrap up, I want to thank everyone who continues to support We Are Cosmic. If you're traveling during the holidays, safe travels to you. Content will continue, whether I'm in the car, outside, or on the move. Make sure your notification bell is on and you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. If this video helped you see XRP and Ripple from a clearer, more realistic perspective, give it a thumbs up. And if you're part of the XRP community, drop an X in the comments. I read them, and it means more than you think.